What's going on, guys? Once again, live here on YouTube, covering what's happening here really quickly. I didn't really get a whole lot of sleep last night, but this Kumt alert just woke me up, and it looks like a huge amount of damage has been done inside of Israel with incoming missiles, and I'm just going to kind of go over that really quick with you guys and show you guys some of the footage here of what just happened. Pretty amazing. This is the moment that an Iranian missile impacted inside of Haifa, and this was it. These are high precision guided munitions and bombs that I don't think Israel is able to defend against at all. And I don't think they're really sending that many. They're just sending enough to just tell them, hey, you know, we're going to send 2,000 of these at once here soon for the punitive damage part. This is just to show you that we're going to try to deter any more attacks. This is what they've said. But can you imagine? They've only sent in a few here. But can you imagine when they start sending in thousands at once? Because they have enough to send in a huge amount. But look at this damage here. Just this impact here. It just happened probably 15, 20 minutes ago. But watch this. So that looks like probably that's Haifa. That's in the city of Haifa. Here's some more.
What the fuck?
Dude, wow. Wow. The Israelis are shocked at what's going on. I don't think they realize that this wasn't going to be, another Hamas or Lebanon. This was going to be big rockets, real missiles, not rockets. These are not bottle rockets. These are real missiles here. This is the damage. This is the aftermath of the Iranian ballistic missile that impacted Haifa. You can see that building had a lot of damage on the exterior, but the actual missile itself might have hit somewhere else. Let's see what else. There's some more. Tel Aviv also got impacted. Tel Aviv. This is more from Haifa. Sorry about the blowing out your eardrums here, but here's Haifa inside of a car. It looks like a parking lot. Underground. Wow. Wow. You got to wonder that missile, did it go inside the car? That looks like some kind of a mechanics, shop or something. Or anyways, it looked like it went inside there or something. Impact the impact blast, I guess, or something. Here's some more footage here or visuals in Haifa. You can see there's some damage to that wall there up in the bigger building there. Let's see here. Here's when the another angle of the missiles began to come in. Oh, wow. Why is he yelling? He shuts the door and then he reopens it. He's like, okay, so it says there are 14 other civilians injured in Haifa additionally, so there must be more people injured and or dead. I don't really think that they like to tell too many numbers. But let's see what else we got here. There's a lot of the impact areas or the areas that were affected. Something is going on here. 3D, it says, pops up. 3D plane pops up. Spoofing, severe GPS spoofing ongoing over the Persian Gulf. I'm not sure what that means. General Mohammed Razi Naqdi, it says, appeared in public today in Tehran. He's the deputy director or coordinator of the IRGC Joint Staff. Maybe they're saying that they killed him, but he's still alive. So Indian airliner went out into the Persian Gulf, it says, which is kind of dangerous. That's not smart. You get yourself shot down there pretty easy. They're saying they've got steel nerves. In other words, steel nerves. That's what they said. Something similar to that. They got nerves of steel. I don't know. I don't know how they could get out there in the middle of all that. They're the only airliner out there. Let's see what this is saying. Anyways, let me see if I can get some more other footage here, because I've got other stuff here. Let's see. Swiss Foreign Ministry said that it has decided to temporarily close its embassy in Iran due to the military operations and the highly unstable situation. Yeah, that's probably what needs to be done. Still in my military-style underground bunker. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard targeted the Channel 14 field broadcasting headquarters in Haifa with the Sigil-3 missiles after prior warning. So I guess that's what those incoming missiles were, impacting in Haifa, was to try to take out that Israeli TV station, since the Israelis had attacked the Iranians' TV station. This was the tit for the tat, right? So I guess this is what's happening, the tit for tat, and also the punitive part, they say. The punishment has not begun yet, so I guess we're still waiting for the punishment part. Let's see what else we got here. Iran's internet services have been down for over 48 hours, it says. So that's usually on the cusp of some kind of attack. Britain has begun organizing charter flights to evacuate its citizens from Israel. The aftermath of the attack, I showed you that one. Let's see what else we got here. We do have a lot of channels now that we're looking at. And I just want to say, give a shout out to End Time Headlines, End Time Headline News. They are definitely on top of reporting a lot of, breaking news at their website, but also on Telegram. And they're working, kind of collaborating with some of the news sources that we also get. I just want to thank them for sharing those links. Great channel out there. End Time News, End Time Headline News. I believe that's what they're called. End Time Headline, yeah. Why do I say it wrong? So something happened to my Telegram page, and I can't search for stuff now for some reason. Okay, wait a minute. Yeah, End Times Report. Oh, no, I'm sorry. End Time Headline. End Time Headlines. And I believe they also have endtimeheadline.com or endtimeheadlines.com. I would say check them out. Definitely got a lot of good news there. And they preach the good news. That's one thing, too. They preach the good news. Somebody's yelling in the background? Sounds pretty crazy. Oh, we're looking at the skyline here of Haifa. Or no, this is the Jerusalem skyline. Let's take a look and see what we missed over there. I'm kind of curious. Being that I did just get up out of a deep sleep, because this meant, I've got my Telegram on in the background, but when something goes on, it just goes crazy, beeping, and it's like all these little alarm systems are going off, and everybody's like running around with the chicken with their head cut off. And literally, I know what chickens do when you cut their head off. I'm actually, I've been telling you guys I've been doing my chickens lately, and you just got to make sure they don't run around when you cut their head, when you start the process. Okay, so here it is. Terrible visuals, huh? Let's see if I can find the moment when this happened here. So this had to have been about 45 minutes ago. Let's see if we got any. Okay, here it is right here. This is when it started here. Look at. What they're looking at, I have no idea. This is AP. Like I said, AP's coverage is usually up in the air. They don't usually reveal any major impacts. I don't know if they're allowed to. Anybody that films inside of Israel now has to have a contract with the government or some kind of agreement with the government. And I bet you that it stipulates that you can't show the impacts. Only the, missile batteries that are taking place, the defensive, shooting out of the sky kind of thing. Because anytime there's impacts, AP News does not show the visuals of the impacts. They're always showing something totally different that's not even on the screen there. And it's kind of frustrating because you want to see what happens. But this was Jerusalem, so Jerusalem didn't have any. I don't see any impacts here in Jerusalem. The old city's right here. You can see the Dome of the Rock right there, right to the left. But the alarms did go off. The alarms did go off. All right, so we got medevac helicopters are over Haifa now, headed to Rambam Hospital. Rambam. They call it Rambam. I guess that's after one of their sages of old. His name was Rambam. Kind of like Bam Bam, except it's Rambam. You got Pebbles and Rambam and, the Barney and Wilma and Fred, but there's also Rambam. I don't know. I'm just kidding. But no, Rambam Hospital, I guess, was hit, is what I heard. Rambam Hospital was also targeted, from what I'm hearing here. Let's see if I can show you some visuals on that there. See if I can get that up there real quick. So they're saying that this is the pictures of the helicopters coming in. There's 4 of them there. And I believe that that's the hospital there. But from what I understand, the hospital was targeted. So let's take a look and see if I can find out some of these targets here that were hit. All right, so we've got the more visuals here. Let's look at this one here. So it says here that, whoops. It says the exact building that was targeted in Haifa near the Ministry of Interior, I think, MOI, Ministry of Interior. It looks like maybe there was some damage there. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what they're saying there. All right, so here is some Iranian missiles. I guess the components. There's an engine, likely indicating the use of the CGL or the Qadar missile. Not the heaviest of Iran's missiles, but definitely a caliber higher than the K-bar Shikan. Okay, so what am I hearing? I'm hearing alerts going off again. What the heck is that? Okay, that was from before. All right, so let's just put it back over here. I think it would be better to have... Okay, so they did have a Tel Aviv skyline too. Okay, so here's the Tel Aviv skyline. Let me just see if I can find the moment this happened. Okay, so here is the Tel Aviv skyline. All we see is just air. This was when it happened here. As you can see, this was just about 45 minutes ago, or an hour ago. Let's see if we can see if they show anything, because I know there were some impacts right there in Tel Aviv, so let's just see if they actually showed the impacts. Probably not. I'm guessing they probably didn't. Let's see if it's true to form here. This is the AP. Let's see. You see how they're not showing the actual buildings? Okay, here come the incoming missiles. See, here they come. All right, so those were interceptors, which it looks like one of them hit their target. One of them did actually hit, but it sounded like there was some more impacts that weren't seen there. So you've got one interceptor there that seems to have hit its mark. All right, is that all you're going to show us? The little poof of smoke. That poof of smoke is very important, I guess, to the AP. How about showing us what happened on the ground there? Now they go down. Okay, thank you. See, this is why AP is just not, it's just not relevant now. I mean, they're not going to show you anything, I don't think. Let's go back over to the visuals that were captured by regular citizens here. The regular citizens can get in trouble for showing too much, from what I understand. So this was a missile engine.
אף אחד לא יודע נפילה אצלי בבית. אף אחד לא יודע! לא יודע! מטורף, לא יודע, מבחינתי מטורף. לא יודע. איזה גודל. אחי, זה המנוע, אני לא יודע, יש פה ריח גם. לא יודע, מדהים מבחינתי.
He's very excited to have an Iranian missile engine on his porch. He's very excited, is what he's saying. Is like, this is the best day of my entire life to have been so lucky to get an Iranian missile engine to just fall right out of the sky onto my porch. Doesn't he sound excited?
Wow.
Wow. Okay. It is pretty lucky, I guess. Might as well try to get in the lottery now. Look at this. Wow. Some pretty big explosions out sounding there. This is some more. All right, so this is one of the impact areas here. It says here that, let's see. This is near Beersheba. That was the underground car facility there. And we showed you that one. All right, this one here looks like some kind of impact here. Let's see what this is. All right, so that was Haifa. So it looks like it hit this building over here. The impact obviously radiated out. It was a pretty large missile. Let's see what they got here. They got some more visuals of people running for their lives here. Okay, so there are Israeli airstrikes now at the IRGC base inside of Aviv, Iran. This is what this is here. I wonder if this is Iran here. This might, I can't tell. This one, oh no, this is Haifa. All right, so Cradle says, yeah. That was just a little bit ago. We already saw that one. 27 injuries inside of Haifa, including 3 in critical condition. 3 critical condition people in critical condition. Erdogan from Turkey, the Turkish president, said Israel, which today complains about damage to its hospitals, carried out more than 700 attacks on health units or hospitals inside of Gaza alone. And that's true. They did. They attacked a lot of hospitals. And they said that Hezbollah, or I'm sorry, Hamas was hiding underneath the hospitals. That's why they had to blow them up, because there's underground tunnels underneath every hospital and every institution of higher learning as well. And every civilian home, there's just underground tunnels everywhere. They had to just level everything. And because it's so terribly destroyed, there's no coming back, right? So they're just going to have to build a Riviera by the Mediterranean with Trump's help and investment. And Trump Hotel, Riviera, Golden, Gaza. This is the way, I'm telling you, this is the way it looks. This is the way people perceive it. And even if you're not a Muslim or even sympathetic to Islam, you still can see very clearly that what happened in Gaza was not right. But anyway, so what's going on in Israel now is kind of a response, I guess. So Iran launched 35 missiles at Israel in the latest barrage. 35 missiles this time. I'm not sure how many actually impacted, but it did. There were a number of impacts. Israeli media says we are no longer in a safe place. Missiles are falling without us feeling anything. The defense system has collapsed. I'm not sure where that came from. Deaths in recent Iranian strikes on Haifa, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Beersheba, and Negev. This one says here, more videos and photos are emerging online. So let's take a look. We saw that. That one looked like it was kind of by the beach. You know, I've noticed that Israelis are very expressive. They're very expressive. And whenever there's a missile coming in, they always say, yo, 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 yo. I wonder what that means. Yo, 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 yo. They almost sound like rappers. Yo, 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 yo. No, I've heard them say that a number of times. I don't know if it means something. I don't know if it's an expression or what, but I've heard a number of Israelis say that whenever a missile comes in, they say, yo, 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 especially when it's a really big surprise and it happens like right near them. That's when they say it. Yo, 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 yo. And they do use the F word too. Amazing. Even though they speak Hebrew, they say the F word. This guy's saying Allah, so he must be an Arab there. There's another visual of the impact area of, I believe that's in Haifa. And I guess that shows where it impacted. Right there by the Ministry of Interior. Remember I told you, right there by the Ministry of Interior. I don't know if that was the target, but that's where it was at right there. Somebody said they're now on True Promise 3.17. This is progressing like iOS updates. Someone said they petitioned the IRGC to come up with a new name. True Promise. Yeah, why why True Promise? That's what I wondered. The name doesn't sound like it fits what they're actually doing. They could name it something more, intimidating or sounding a little more threatening to, if you ask me. But Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Arkachi arrives in Geneva to hold talks with France, Germany, and the United Kingdom. Russia warns the U.S. against assassinating Khomeini, calls regime change attempts unacceptable. Moscow rejects Israeli and U.S. calls for regime change, warning that any strikes on Iran's leaders would destabilize West Asia and beyond. West Asia and beyond. Malaysia, listen to this. Malaysia launches 1,000 flotilla, I guess flotillas would be the 1,000 of them, aimed at breaking the blockade on Gaza and delivering aid directly. This is President Mohad Azimi, this is from Malaysia, said that the initiative marks a major international mobilization to confront Israel's unlawful naval siege on Gaza. We will build not one but 1,000 ships. We will build not one but 1,000 ships. We will sail not once but until Gaza is liberated. This is coming from Malaysia. 1,000 ships. Is that crazy? They people around the countries around the world are incensed at what happened there. Still, I'm surprised Israel hasn't had a coordinated attack. I know that Yemen and Hezbollah kind of coordinated a little bit, and a little bit of a Hamas, whatever was left of Hamas, was trying to coordinate. But I'm surprised the bigger countries haven't. And I know Turkey is not happy at all, and I think Turkey might. And that would be a country you'd want to be very careful with to see get involved. If Turkey got involved, you would see some highly technical weaponry being used. I say that Turkey is probably on par with Israel's military. They're probably equal in many ways. Turkey has a lot of technologies, and I think Iran does now too. It looks like Iran has lots of technology now. A statement by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps says that the 17th wave of missiles and drone attacks by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. This was the 17th. The wave 17 targets military industries and command centers of Israel, and it says the operation is carried out using very long range and heavy missiles, drone attacks, and suicide drones. It's I had to kind of clean up the language because it was very foreign sounding. These are coming from foreign sources, so they are definitely not using correct English. The Iranians used a Fatah 1 hypersonic missile, which explains why none of the interceptor missiles were able to stop it, in addition to damaging a classified drone facility in Beersheba. This was likely a test launch aimed at assessing the air defense response in the southern region, possibly in preparation for strikes on Dimona. Dimona is a nuclear facility inside of Israel. This was this morning. This was a post from this morning about 3 a.m. And there's remnants of what is left of a missile that came in from Israel. I'm from Iran, I mean. Let's see. What else do we got here? We have not seen here. A lot of this we've already seen. .703, Iranian drones intercepted by Israel over Syria. So it looks like more drones are incoming. This was just a few minutes ago. So it looks to me like Iranian drones are now inbound. And are being intercepted over Syria. So it says here, intercepted by Israel over Syria, and there's also Iranian air defenses have gone active over Bashur, southern Iran. Iranian air defenses. So Iranian air defenses are now active as of 1 minute ago. So maybe the Israelis are retaliating as we speak. Israeli interceptions of Iranian Shahed drones are ongoing in southern Lebanon too. That was only 2 minutes ago. It says a wave of explosions are heard in northeast Israel. That was 7:01. That was only about 7 minutes ago. The EU-Iran talks have started. That was at 7 a.m. our time. That would have been just 8 minutes ago. Iran commits war crimes by bombing hospitals. Danny Danon, Israeli representative to the UN, says. That sounds kind of hypocritical. Iran is bombing hospitals. It's a war crime. But 700 hospitals that were attacked or any kind of healthcare type situations inside of Gaza was not. That doesn't make any sense. This is why everybody's like literally turning on Israel right now. Everyone is turning on Israel because it just doesn't sound legit. Now, I understand that they're a small country and they're surrounded, but when you can't criticize Israel at all, or it's Semitism, you got a buffer that you're used to not being criticized because of that. Then you try to get away with more and more and more. Eventually, it becomes so absolutely apparent that you're using these get out of jail free cards all the time that it doesn't make any sense. 520 missiles were fired from Iran so far, of which only 25 fell, less than 5%. I think it's more than 25. I think it's more like 40 or 50. I counted, from what I understand on the graphs, it was closer to 50 out of all the missiles that were fired. This is coming from the Israeli Knesset secretary, so obviously they're not saying truthfully what's really going on there. It probably was more like 60 impacts, including today's impacts, because there was at least, 4 or 5 impacts today. The kindergarten, part of Israel's dangerous terror infrastructure, housing F-35s in the basement, was also struck. What? I think that was supposed to be a joke. I think they were making a joke here. It says the kindergarten, part of Israel's dangerous terror infrastructure, housing F-35s in the basement, was also struck. No, this is a joke. The kindergarten was empty and the missile did not hit it. It was probably just impact residue. But I think he's making a joke about how the Israelis would say they leveled Gaza because there was an underground tunnel network under every building and every house all throughout the whole of Gaza. That's why it's not there anymore, because the whole place was networked with tunnels that needed to be destroyed. So these talks in Vienna are happening now. It kind of sounds reminiscent of World War II. You know, these frantic diplomatic talks amongst leaders right before it all blows up. Oh, I didn't go to bed till like 4 o'clock this morning, so I woke up like within an hour and a half of me just even beginning to start to sleep. So I really didn't get any sleep. I need to go back to bed. This one here shows footage of a house. I think we showed you that one already. An Iranian missile or drone struck an Israeli radar site inside the Golan Heights. Fears of hazardous material leaks due to Iranian missile impact. This is according to Israeli channel 13. Hazardous material leak. Not sure what that is. 3 Israelis confirmed dead in Beersheba following the attack this morning. 3 Israelis confirmed dead. Considerable damage in an area many dozens of meters away from the Iranian impact in Haifa. This was the one that we showed you, the car one. We showed you that one already. Mariv, I believe that's might be in Iranian outlet says, quote, the Israeli air defense layers are clearly collapsing, and it will get much worse in the coming days, unquote. So this is according to Maariv, and I think that that's a Iranian news outlet. Let me see. Oh, no, it is a Hebrew language daily newspaper published in Israel. So this is coming from a Israeli newspaper. It is a newspaper published inside of Israel, and they just stated that the Israeli defense layers are collapsing, and it will only get much worse in the coming days. Maybe this is their way of crying for help. Help us. We're about to be consumed and overrun by our enemies, America. And Trump is like, well, we'll just give it another couple weeks. Just see how it goes. Make sure that we can't have a diplomatic solution here. So Trump is giving them a little bit longer time here frame, supposedly because of these diplomatic events unfolding right now in Geneva. All the while, Iran is still punishing and sending missiles into Israel. Now, the punishment part, per one of their military chiefs, I think it was yesterday, the day before, said that hasn't begun yet. The punishment part hasn't begun. This is more of a deterrence response, a deterrent response. Punishment response has not begun. And that needs to happen, they said, in order for Israel to never do this again. So they need to, it's kind of like when your mother or your dad tells you when you were a kid, get in the bedroom and get ready for a spanking. They slap you around a little bit. Maybe they give you a little preliminary, work over, and then they tell you to go in your room and wait for the big one coming in with the belt or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. Any of you guys used to get spanked when you were a kid? I don't think they do that anymore. People don't spank their kids like they used to back in the day when you were a kid. How many of you guys got whipped? It was kind of a regular thing with us when we were kids. But we don't even do that to our kids. My goodness. But there is a discipline that you do need to give to kids, but it wasn't like old school whipping style. This is kind of like what they're doing here with the Israelis. We're gonna teach them a lesson. We're gonna let them sit there and think about it first before we come in and whip them. We're gonna punish them. This is what the Iranians are telling the Israelis. Now, will they actually make good on that, or are they just going to keep throwing a few missiles here and a few missiles there, just to keep them all on edge? You know how nerve-wracking that is to always be on the edge of thinking a missile's going to come and at any moment messing up your day, living with this anxiety, hanging over your head for weeks that missiles are incoming. You can't even go anywhere because you got the fear of a missile falling on your head. That in and of itself is kind of a punishment, but not according to Iran. They want to rain down thousands of missiles at once, not just 50 or 25 here and there. They want to rain down 1,000 of these missiles all at once. Can you imagine 1,000 missiles incoming? My goodness. This was that underground parking lot, it looks like. I don't know if you saw that one. That did not look too good. Yeah, fig beater. Yeah, I know what you're saying. My little girls, I don't even have to say anything to them. I mean, I can just look at my little girls and they melt. You know, there's no way. My girls have never been, you know. Now the boys are a little different. The boys need to be, they need to be spoken to and dealt with a little differently than the girls. We've got, but we don't really have disciplinary problems too much. They're usually pretty good. All the kids are good. But and yeah, they used to spank people at school. I remember that too. There used to be spankings at school. How many of you guys remember getting spanked at school? That's what you call the Board of Education, right? The Board of Education, they had like a paddle. I remember when I was really young, they used to have to get permission from your parents to spank you. However, before the permission came, they didn't even need permission. Back in the older days, the teachers would just spank you. I don't even think they needed permission. But as time went on, I think you had to get permission from the parents. Things have changed, haven't they? Isn't that different now? They would get a paddle out and they would spank your behind. You got spanked with the paddle twice in one day for fighting? Oh, you've always been a fighter, huh? Yeah, at school. At school. Today, kids would be like, what? They would never happen ever in a day like today. You'd get sued. The school would get sued. If the school ever spanked a kid, they would probably get sued. But did they have to get your parents' permission? Any of you guys out there that are older, did they have to get your parents' permission at the school to spank you when you were a kid, or did they just spank you? I'm kind of curious. Because I know that the permission from parents came in a little later. They used to have to get the permission later. I think later on, but they used to spank kids without any permission slips from the parents. Going back to the Little Rascals, the Little Rascals back in the 30s, the 40s. Your mom had to give permission, Sherry? Not in the 80s? They didn't have to give permission in the 80s? No permission, Ron, huh? They just spanked you. They just whipped you. Now, they had to use a paddle, I think. I don't think that they could, the Board of Education. And then they had paddles that had holes in them. They say the holes made it hurt more. The paddle had holes in it. Did you ever see how they used to put holes in the paddle? So there was a big paddle, wood paddle, and it would have holes in it. So it would sting more. I guess the holes made it worse. Belinda said, that is what is wrong with the kids today. God said, discipline your children. Yeah, it's true. I mean, you got to discipline your children. No pain, no gain. Sometimes, you got to make sure that you get their attention. And sometimes, a little discipline, it is painful. Discipline is a little painful. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Yep. I kind of agree with that. Especially when you got, rebellion rising up inside of a child. Isn't rebellion a bad thing, right? Yeah, it's a bad thing. You want your kids to listen and respect. And when you got rebellion popping up, that's the sinful nature there that's within everybody's heart. And it says what? The rod of correction will drive. Foolishness is bound up in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction will drive it far from him. Doesn't it say something like that? The rod of correction will drive it far from him. So, yeah, you have to kind of knead out, like when you do your bread, you got to knead it out. You got to just knead out those bad things in there. Let's get those air bubbles out of there. Get the air bubbles out. Cars and Cat says, my mom beat the backs of my legs with a willow switch. Yeah, that she made you pick. And they used to do that too. They used to tell you to go out and pick that switch that you're gonna get spanked with. And then and when it snapped, she doubled it up and it kept it kept swinging. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, Elizabeth, you're right. Parents do take it too far. You should never discipline your children when you're angry. You do it with a purpose and intent to try to get the foolishness out, right? The foolishness, whatever that entails. Foolishness needs to be driven away, far away. So you got to be very aware of what you're doing when you're disciplining. Definitely. Ralph says a Darth Vader paddle, huh? Your mom gave you whelps from a fly swatter. A fly swatter. That's pretty crazy. Your daughter went to a Christian private school, Kathy, and I had to sign papers for agreement with corporal punishment. Yeah, corporal punishment. Yeah, yep. But anyways, so much for the discipline. You know, like you said, our generation of children now has grown up and without any discipline, and look at what's happened. You know, they've been, you know, telling the kids, "Oh, you can sue your parents." You got the courts now allowing kids to sue their parents. Well, my parents spanked me, and I'm going to sue them now. Like, and you know, or I don't know. It's just kind of crazy nowadays. I mean, you know, you don't even know what they're going to do if you. The state wants to raise your kids anyway, right? They tell you what's best, how to raise your children. Not good. Let's see what else is going on here. It says here, wow. So this is just coming out. President Trump calls for a special prosecutor to investigate the fraud in the 2020 election. Why didn't he do that while he was in office the first time? That's what I don't understand. You know, when I sat back and I watched this whole thing unfold in 2019, 2020, you know, the election itself needed to have been forensically investigated at that moment, not 4 years later or 5 years later. Because I had said at that time, if Trump doesn't get to the bottom of what happened now, then he's good. He will come back and rule over what is left, the ashes of what is left of America. I said that all the way back in 2020. I said if he doesn't fix it now, he's not doing his duty as a statesman. He should have gotten to the bottom of whatever happened there. To me, this makes me think that he took the fall. He took the bow. He went along with their agenda, made a deal in the dark back room there, because really, you just don't allow corruption to take its course for 4 or 5 years and then think you're going to come back, because he knew he was going to come back. They probably told him, yeah, you're going to come back. Don't worry. This is the way it's supposed to be. Don't try to fix it now, because everything needs to be blamed when you do come back on the previous administration. And he's going to be so stupid and dumb that everybody's going to go along with it. Even the left. Even the left will go along with it. That's how stupid and dumb it's going to look. And Trump's like, okay. And that's kind of what happened. I read the book, Patrick Byrne. I looked into all the stuff that went on in the office when that secret meeting took place. And that was the conclusion I came to, is that there was some kind of backdoor deal with people behind the scenes that ultimately do appoint presidents or that fix things, you know. And when I say he took the dive, I'm talking about in boxing. They tell you fixed matches. They tell him to take the fall. They tell one guy, "Hey, we're going to pay you out. Take the fall." And then everybody bets on the guy they know is going to win, and everybody makes money, right? This is all the corruption that goes on behind the scenes in a fixed fight. And I just think that's kind of what happened. Personally, that's why I'm not going along with any of this. And I know it's a uniparty anyway. It's a uniparty. It's not neither Democrat nor Republican. They're both the same coin. The same, this is just my way of seeing it, but I do think it's pretty accurate in my estimation. You can believe whatever you want to believe if you don't believe that, but, that's the way I see it. From all the evidence, at least, that I've compiled. But anyways, let's see what else. Before I go here, a man was spotted wearing a helmet with a sign reading Iron Dome. What? What? He's got bullet holes in it too? Is that bullet holes? The Iron Dome. Or, as you would say, the Golden Dome of America would be Trump's beautiful golden hair. I wonder if Trump dyes his hair orange too. Or that orangish color. It's got that orangey tint to it. I bet you anything he dyes it that color too. He has to be dyeing it. I know where did I go? I know that he bronzes himself. He used to bronze. I don't think he does it as much. I think people maybe it finally got through to him that he looks bad. How bad is it if you can't receive any kind of constructive criticism where people are telling you, hey, you've got a snot hanging out of your nose. You might want to wipe that off there because it looks really bad. I know that it's hard to hear people criticize you and you don't want to be wrong. And you've got this idea that everything you do is just perfect and awesome and amazing. And this golden bronze tanning lotion or whatever they put all over him with his big old white circles on his eyes where they didn't actually get the tanning agent in there inside of his eyelids, doesn't look good. He needs to be allowing people to. It's kind of like that anti-Semitism thing. You can't criticize Israel. Why? Shouldn't that make them better? That's what journalism is. Journalism is a free press for the purpose of keeping everybody accountable, right? So that we don't go off the rails. It's kind of like checks and balances. You got three branches of government that check each other so that we don't become a dictatorship. So you need criticism. You need criticism, or you start looking like a freak and you don't realize it because nobody's wanting to tell you that the king has no clothes. He's walking around in his underwear and he doesn't know it because everybody's afraid to tell him. It's like Kim Jong-un over there in North Korea. Everybody's clapping and got smiles because if they don't smile, they're going to be pulled out and killed. Like, you smile when we tell you to smile, and if something bad happens, you all cry. Have you seen those videos of the people in North Korea? They're all crying. The whole crowd is like, because if that one guy is in there and he's not crying, they're going to pull him out and they're going to execute him. I refuse to live in a society like that. You know what I'm saying? But anyhow, I guess that's over for right now. I'm going to go back to bed and try to get a little more sleep because I did not sleep but 2 hours at the most. Hey, Jeffrey J. BC, his AG bar was not on his side. Oh, because AG bar. I know, but nobody was on his side. Everybody turned on him. Everybody turned on him except for a few guys, supposedly. Everybody that he picked turned on him. But it was all part of the plan, according to Q. Trust Barr, right? Trust Sessions, trust Barr, trust the plan. We're in control. It's a military psyop operation. Everything is, it's a psy war. We're going to tell you disinformation is important. You're going to believe lies for the purpose of ultimately the end goal of him coming back. He's coming back, like whatever. All right. I am going to go get some gas. Yes. God bless. God bless. And yeah, I know we all have our different ideas. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm always open to that idea and that thought, but I'll tell you, everything that I've thought has actually seemed to kind of line up with everything that ended up happening. Like I've been telling you guys, I've been kind of giving you a play-by-play of what I thought was going to happen, and it seems to line up every single time. So I hope I'm not right on the other things, because that would be terrible if I was. If it turns out to be correct and accurate according to what I think, it's not going to be good. And I don't think I want to see it happen. But anyways, God bless you guys. I'll see you guys back here when I get a little more sleep. Hopefully nothing big goes down while I get back to bed. Amen. God bless.